Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students, and welcome back. We were discussing risk analysis. This was table number 1. Now we are proceeding towards the table number 2. In this table, there are another types of risk and their probability and effects. So here you can see that the database used in the system cannot process as many transactions per second as expected. So this is the database risk. So the probability of these types of risk is moderate. Moderate means that it may occur or may not occur. And effect is very much serious because when it occurs, it seriously affects the project. The next risk is the time required to develop the software is underestimated. So here the time schedule required to develop the software is wrongly estimated. The probability of these types of risk in software development is very high. So high means that it always occurs, and effect is also very serious. So serious means that it seriously affects the project. Case tools cannot be integrated. Case tools means computer-aided software engineering tools. These are the tools used to develop the software, and they cannot be integrated with each other. So that means case tools do not perform communications of components with each other. So the probability of these types of risk is high, but its effect is tolerable. Tolerable means that there may be another alternative methods to integrate the case tools with each other. So that's why that is tolerable. The next one is customer fails to understand the impact of requirement change. Requirement changes are frequently occurring in many projects, and the customer do not understand what will be the impact on the project when the requirements are changed. So the effect of this risk is moderate and it is also tolerable. Next is requirement training for the staff is not available. That is the required training for the staff, that the people who are working on the project is not available with us. Sometimes the new technology is launched into the market for the development, so that's why we have no such a people who train our staff for the usage of this new technology. So the probability of such a risk is moderate and it is also tolerable. Tolerable means that we can arrange another alternative methods to train our staff. For example, using YouTube videos or some tutorials, we can train our staff. The next one is the rate of defects repair is underestimated. The effect of this is also moderate and it is also tolerable. That means we can increase the defect repair in the project. The size of the software is underestimated. So this types of risk is very high. It means that project manager wrongly estimate the size of the software project. But it is also tolerable. The code generated by case tool is inefficient. Case tool is computer software engineering tools. It includes interpreters, compilers, database engines, and many other tools like graphics tools, like artificial intelligence tools, etc. So sometimes these tools do not give us an efficient code. For example, if we want to use the automated way of creating the code, so the case tools code is inefficient. That is the moderate risk. That means that the probability of this types of risk is moderate, but it is insignificant. Effect on this project is not significant. That it is very low types of risk and its effect is not significant. Now next phase in the software risk management is the risk planning. So here the project manager usually creates different sort of plans to resolve the risk. So considering each these risks and develop a strategy to manage that risk. So the strategy will be the planning. So the project manager is responsible to create 3 different types of plans. First one is called the avoidance strategy or avoidance plan. This, as its name indicates, is created for certain risk whose effects is not so much significant. So these are insignificant sort of risk for which avoidance strategy is created. The probability that the risk will arise is reduced. So here we just reduce the effect of the risk. Remember that the risk cannot be 100% resolved. Next one is minimization strategy. So here such strategies are created that the impact of the risk on the project or product will be reduced. Here the impact will also be reduced. Here the probability is actually reduced. But here the impact of the risk is actually reduced. This is the difference between avoidance and minimization strategy. And the last one is contingency plan. Contingency means very serious types of plans. So contingency means that when that types of risk will occur, it will seriously affect the project. So if the risk arises, contingency plans are planned to deal with the risk. So these are certain plans which are in fact created by very high qualified people and very good think tank people. So these plans are very much important to deal with the uh, contingency risk, are significant, are very serious risk. Now here we have different sort of strategies for managing the risk. For example, these are the solutions for certain risks. For example, organizational financial problem, which is very much serious problem. So how we can reduce the organizational financial problem? So prepare a briefing document for senior management showing how the project is making a very important contribution to the goals of the business. So here we will communicate with different stakeholders about the project business goals. So if the project business goals are very much best for us, that means that the project business goals are very significant for us. Then that means that our national financial problems will be realized, will be the organizational financial problems will be resolved. And secondly, we should also have side money for us so that the organization financial problems can be reduced. Next one is recruitment problem. Recruitment problem is certain risk when the required staff members with the suitable skills are not available in the market. So then the project may be delayed, or the quality or cost schedule problem will arise in the project. Now, what we can do for certain problems resolution: alert customers of potential difficulties and the possibilities of delays, and instigate buying components. So we should already inform our customers about certain issues that this problem will occur and it can delay the project. And the best solution is to buy in components. So that means we should buy the third party components to be integrated with our project, and these products our components are of the high quality so that we can reduce our staff member um, efforts. Next one is staff illness. Staff illness is another staff problem in which the key staff members are ill and they are not available for the development. So here we have to reorganize teams so that there is more overlap of the work and the people. Therefore, to understand each other's job. So that means that we should constantly overlap the tasks among our employees so that they become experts on each and every task. Next one is defective components. Defective components mean that some components are not properly working. So replace the potentially defective components with the bought-in components of known reliability. So we should always buy bought-in components which are of high standards, and we should replace these components with the defective components. There is also another risk management strategies, for example, requirement change. When the frequently requirement of the customers are changed, that is also a very serious risk. So how we can cope with these types of risks? So derive a traceability information to assess requirement change impact, maximize information hiding in the design. So we should create a document which can trace that how the requirement change has impact on the product. And also we have to use certain design strategies in which the informations are usually hidden. So that will create the requirement change issues, and this will resolve in fact the requirement change issues. Organization restructuring. Sometimes the organization structures are constantly changed, so that will always create the problem. So prepare a briefing document for the senior management showing how the project is making a very important contribution to the goal of the business. So always the staff member or the project developer should satisfy the senior management about how the project is making important contribution for the development. Database performance. For example, if database queries are of the low performance, then this is also a product risk. So here, investigate the possibility of buying higher performance databases. We should always use the high standard database system. Underestimate and development time. Here means that if the development time is underestimated, then it will be also a schedule risk. So here, investigate buying components, investigate use of the program generator. So here we should use the buy-in components to be used in our products, and also we should investigate how a program generator should be used so that all the code should be automatically generated, and this will reduce the development time. And last one is the risk monitoring. So here the project manager is responsible to monitor the risk constantly. So assesses each identified risk regularly to decide whether or not to is becoming less or more probable. So sometimes a low probability risk may become of the higher probability risk. So that's why we have to constantly look over it. Also assesses whether the effects of the risk has changed. So when, for example, if a risk becomes tolerable, or when it is tolerable, then it becomes serious. So then it affects has been changed. So we should have constantly monitor the risk so that the effect and probability should not change. Each key risk should be discussed at management progress meetings. So we should conduct many meetings with our development staff so that we should discuss that about the risk and also discusses the consequences of these risks. Now these are the indicators of the risk. So indicator means that what will be the impact of the risk. So risk technology, for example, risk type is the technology. So late delivery of hardware or support software, many reported technology problems. So when the hardware or softwares that are used for the developments are delivered late, then it will report technology problem. And next one is the people. Poor staff morale, poor relationship among the team members, and job availability creates the people risk. So for example, if the staff has a poor morale, so then their productivity will be affected. Also, if there is a poor relationship among the staff members, then it's also will create the development problems. And also the job availability issue is also creates the development problem. Organizational tools. Organizational tools means that if organization is not working properly, so organization gossip, lack of action by the senior management is also a problem. So for example, the organization gossips means that if there is a politics in the organization, and lack of action by the senior management means that if the senior management do not take any action against these people who creates the problem in the organization, it will create the problem of organization. Next one is tools. Tools include case tools. Case tools are the development tools. So the team members use different sort of tools and they complaints about these tools. So the tool used for the developments are of the low quality. So the people always demands for high powered workstation or tools. Next one is the requirement problem. Requirement problem means that when the customer do not give us exact requirements about the product, or they provides us very late sort of the requirements. So then the requirements problems will occur. So many requirement change requests occurs and customers complaints also occurs. Then that means that this is the requirements problem. And the last one is the estimation. So it fails to meet agreed schedule, fails to clear reports and defects. This is the estimation problem. Dear student, this is the end of the lecture. If you have any question, you can drop in email at my ID. My ID is m.kadeem@kust.edu.ek. All these topics is taken by the software engineering book by Ein Samarwal of the 8th edition. Thank you very much.